it doesn't get any better than the way I got it. The weather turned here. We went from t-shirt weather and shorts to you need a sweater and got to keep warm here overnight, it seems like. So it's cold.
Yeah, we're coming into the winter, aren't we, in the Northern Hemisphere? So we notice it, especially here in Spain, because the temperature drops by 10, 15 degrees in a period of about a week from summer to autumn, as we call it, or you call it fall. But yeah, I don't mind that, because after a long hot summer, it's quite nice to have the fresh breeze. I grew up in England, where the winter in Spain is very much like the summer is in England. So we're very blessed here, and we're very privileged. I mean, Spain is an interesting country at the moment, because the Spanish government lost the case about existing. They're between a rock and a very hard place, and we're starting to see the benefits of the 20-odd countries who've taken their government to court, and what they've done is done it step by step. The first step was to prove that does not exist. Why do they have lockdowns, etc. And when they tried to enforce a lockdown the other day, the Supreme Court said, for what? And they went, well, it's a different strain. And the judge said, a different strain of what? Because we've already established that it does not exist. So what are we playing at? And of course they went away and they had egg on their faces. They had no idea what to say. But they're being caught out now, because the biggest problem that we have right now, and sadly they were proved right, and I've mentioned this before, Bill Gates and his team refer to most of the world as useless eaters. And they openly say that the world is far too thick to catch us out, far too thick. There's nowhere near enough intelligence out there. Well, sadly, there is. And not only is there enough intelligence out there, we're coming for you, and we'll take you down, because we've got an ace up our sleeve that you haven't got. We've got God on our side, and you don't stand a chance. So this is going to be very interesting to see it play out. We're seeing things happen. I think it's very important to point out to our audience, Steve, there is massive, massive, massive distraction worldwide at the moment to distract us over here, while Robert Maxwell's daughter, Ghislaine Maxwell, over here is starting her trial. Just remember one thing. Robert Maxwell was one of the big boys in media. And all of the big boys in media are friends. They're all buddies. So whether it's Rupert Murdoch, who's very, very quiet, very, very quiet at the moment, but all of these boys who are in charge of the media, they're linked in. And the media have turned a blind eye to Ghislaine Maxwell's court case, which should be headline news, should be, but it's not, because we're worried about Kyle Rittenberg, who got found totally innocent, and rightly so.
Absolutely.
And then you've got the riots in Rotterdam that are going on. These are all part of the managed distraction, the shutting down of Belgium, complete lockdown. This is all distraction over here so that they can do something over here. Do not be distracted. And just remember as well, we've taken our eyes off the audit. The results have been out there. We haven't yet seen them. So there's a reason.
Must be, right? Why would you hide it?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. You know, if Biden had won convincingly, they'd want those out as soon as possible. And then you've got CNN, and then the channels over there, NBC and all the others saying, well, you know, there's obviously found nothing. That's why they're not publishing it. You know, they just carry on their narrative. But we're in a very good place right now. And the most important thing is not to be fearful, because this is what they want. They want to distract you. They want to make you scared. There was quite a few people killed with live bullets in Rotterdam last night, where the police turned their guns on the people. But I've heard from the inside that the people that were killed for a reason.
They were singled out, huh?
They were singled out.
They were assassinated, not.
They were assassinated rather than just random shots. And we'll have to wait and find out more about that.
Mm-hmm. We
it'll
certainly
take time.
won't get that information. We're going to have to find that information.
We have to find it from the people behind the scenes. We have some good people behind the scenes. We have some good whistleblowers, some good police officers that have decided to cooperate with the side of truth to expose what's evil. But we're going through a fascinating phase. For me, all this entertainment is taking the pressure off Charlie, because Charlie's NDA is driving him bonkers because he wants to tell everybody what's going on, but is not allowed to. So these distractions are a huge benefit for me, because we can talk about the distractions rather than everything else. I can assure you that everything else behind the scenes is absolutely under control. I'm going to read this again because I think this is massively important. Everything we need is there for us when we know where to look. And it says in the Bible, in 2 Peter 3, verse 9, the Lord isn't really being slow about his promise, as some people think. No, he is being patient for your sake. He does not want any more to be destroyed, but he wants everyone to repent. So if you're worried about the timelines, just pause for a moment and just realize that God and our Lord don't make mistakes. They have everything under control. And I'm going to give you a little example about the way people go about it. It's not the way I would have done it.
Okay, let's hear that.
Sorry?
Let's hear that. Go ahead.
But I'm very good friends with a gentleman down here by the name of Johnny. Johnny is originally an Irish gypsy. And if they have a dispute, it's very, very simple. They go out in the backyard and they fight, and the winner is the winner. And when I met Johnny 30 plus years ago, he was shocked that I thought that I could just talk to somebody and sort it out by being verbal. No, you can't do that. You take them out the back and you kick the shit out of them. Yeah. And if they kick the shit out of you, sorry?
I said you make them a believer. You don't convince them to be a believer.
Exactly. And in those days, we still laugh about it to this day. He's a wonderful human being. He's a real character, but he woke up so quickly to what was going on, because the gypsies are very much like the Maoris and the Aborigines. They're people of the earth. They're not connected to the matrix. They're free of the matrix. We've had a few gypsies in the comment section, and people don't like them because they speak straightforward, and they've got they don't have to smooth up the edges at all. They tell it to you as it is. And that's what we need right now. We've been so protected by this woke generation. You can't say this, you can't say that. Bollocks. These people can tell you straight to your face. And for those in America, they're the two things that hang between your legs. But the important issue is that we speak straightforwardly, we speak steadfastly and straightforward, and we put it across as clearly as we possibly can. The days for physical fighting are over. That doesn't achieve anything apart from a sore face or a sore jaw and a black eye and sore fists and everything.
Maybe
else.
some jail time these days.
Yeah, and that
right?
maybe. But it's time for us to learn the art of communication. Steve and I have always had, same with Mahoney and I, always got on brilliant. We've always been able to communicate. And that's a good thing. When you can communicate, Steve and I, for those who watch us, have never, ever met in person.
Not yet.
Not yet. We will do, for sure. We will next year, because I'm hoping to come over to the States next year and we'll do a tour. But it's very important that we connect with each other and be able to communicate. And we don't always have to agree with everybody. We don't have to. We'll always often have different aspects, different views. That's fine. I have no issue with that because I respect everybody has a different perspective. If your opinion is just an opinion that's not based on fact, then I have a problem because your opinion carries no weight unless you've done some research. It's just an opinion. Do your research properly and then have a debate about it and establish truth.
Absolutely.
A lot of people think that their opinion, even though it's completely convoluted, is it counts. No, it doesn't. It only
We
counts
constantly let's say in the last 10 years since the late 90s, all we've done is look for reasons to pick the fight, right?
Yep.
And as opposed to taking a step back saying there's some sense in what you're saying, let me understand it completely, and vice versa. We don't have to fight about everything. We don't have to be in a position where we're mad. I got yelled at the other day because my tires were touching the white line in the parking spot. And I'm like, oh, you're right. I'll back up and pull it back in. And I said, but you didn't have to yell at me. You could just pointed it out and I would have been fine. But instead, we got to get angry first because we're conditioned that that's the only way to get the upper hand or to come through righteousness, right?
Yeah.
And I sat in the car when I was done and I go, I have every right to be mad and frustrated at that person. And I sat back and going, I'm just going to say a prayer and reconnect because it ain't worth it. It isn't worth an ounce of my anger or an ounce of her time to deal with the situation. So you talked about something that I'm a big, and I spend my life doing this, especially since we've been together, is about preparedness, about putting your mental, your moral, your ethical, your legal world in a situation. The passage that you read to me resonates with, I'm giving you time. That's in your domain, humans. I'm giving you the time to get right because my hand is going to be so swift and so strong that you don't have the time to fix it later on. You have the time to fix it now. So if you live in a world where you're looking for the world to give you something, if you're looking for a way to take advantage of your neighbors or your friends, you're screwed because when the judgment comes, when the righteousness comes, when the fifth dimension comes, you're going to be left behind because you've been given a warning. You've been given time to put your world in perspective. And I hope people take that away very serious, right? You've been given time. Just like going, I'm giving you insider information. Charlie, don't tell anybody, but I'm going to give you some insider information. I heard from a friend of a friend of a friend on the board of directors of so-and-so, and their stock is going to go through the roof. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you is the belief in Christ is going to go through the roof. Your best investment now is to clean up your moral, ethical, and legal situation. So my secret investment in your time and your energy ought to be your faith, ought to be your belief. That should take way more time in your life or way more consciousness than any other situation that we have. And if you're not investing in that ratio, okay, then you're doomed. You are not going to be able to find the comfort in the next evolution, the next where we go and through our creator. And I think that what you read there speaks volumes to where people need to be. Stop worrying about your payday. Stop worrying about the things that the changes in the world are going to be benefiting you. Let's start worrying about the things. Are you in a good legal, moral, ethical position? Sure.
Yeah, he was probably having a shower.
Yeah, that's rare for people.
He's like me, he likes a bath.
Right.
Hello, Simon.
Hello, Charlie. I didn't even know I was invited.
When I was talking to you, and I just suddenly thought, do you know what? Saturday morning, lunchtime, afternoon, what have you? And I thought, let's have a chat together because there's so much going on in the world right now. And we were just talking about we've got the time right now to sort our lives out. And I spoke last night at a do with around 100 people that Peggy and Chantel, her daughter, arranged, which was a superb do. Dave Mahoney was there, and it was a very, very good audience there. And the one thing that's coming to me right now is the fact that if our mindsets are in the right place, we now can create the future we want. We've lived under their control for so long. Those days are over. Those days are completely over. We're not going back to the good old days. They weren't good, but they were old because I lived in them. That's how old they were.
Look what it did to you. Look at this.
Exactly. But now we can create with the power of our mind and our spirit more than anything.
Amen.
Connect with consciousness, connect with ourselves so that we can create the future of where we want to live, the kind of life we want, rather than being enslaved to a system.
Well, that sounds like
It's so
an advert.
freeing. Go ahead, Simon. I'm sorry to interrupt you there.
It sounds like an advert from Charlie Ward. The thing is, it's very true, but I think for many of us, we'll have to live it to believe it. In other words, only when those changes become obvious will the general public dare to step outside of the paradigm that they're in. I mean, Charlie and I and others see the changes, and you do, Steve, and you know what's happening, but it's one thing to see it, it's another thing to feel it. So I'm hoping that as we go into Christmas and come out of Christmas, then it'll be absolutely as plain as day. But Charlie's right. I think so. We need to start thinking about what future we want. Mm-hmm. How do we want to live our life? What's right, what's wrong? And that's what those Man of God documents were. For me, anyway. It was a sort of a roadmap for the future. And I think after sort of January, February, we can go back to those with the general public and start engaging with them on it.
It's interesting when Charlie and I talked about this earlier, how the world needs bollocks, right? The world needs somebody to stand up and tell us.
Not with a woman.
I'm in a seminar very often about wellness.
Oh God!
Somebody inadvertently will always stand up and go, but I don't like water. You know what? First thing I look at them, then you're going to die. Okay. You can't just use an excuse that I don't like what's good for me. And people do this with their faith. They do this with all the stuff that's happening in the world. I just don't like it. So therefore, I'm not going to get involved or get engaged, right? I'm just taking my little bollocks and I'm going to go to the other room. I challenge people all the time is if you won't do what's right for you, then don't bother. Don't try anything. It's a waste, okay? And I use water as an example, but we're using our heart, we're using our soul. We're putting ourselves in a position where God can do work through us. And if you won't do that, then don't tune into Dr. Charlie. Don't turn into Steve and Simon and the gang, because we're giving you everything you need to be prepared for an ability, right?
Steve, you're absolutely right. And I've reached a point in my life now where I don't bother with those people, because if they are going to put up a barrier, they're not open-minded. I won't waste my time. I'll spend my time on those who've got an open mind.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you guys.
That's how I look on it now. There was a time when I would knock my head against a brick wall, but I've learned it's pointless.
Yeah.
I'd rather nurture those that are on my team, okay, than worry about their one or two that will just fight me and fight me and fight me and try to change other minds.
I'm bothered. Nope. Yeah, can't be bothered. That's right.
Amen.
Yeah, it's we're going through a phase right now where some people are one side of the fence, some people are the other side of the fence, and some people are sat on the fence. And as I've walked along the fence, I've put my arms up to try and catch some of. They've fallen backwards, knocked themselves out the other side. And some people have just come into your arms, and you've been able to sort of guide them. The hardest thing I find is, where do I start? Where do I start to tell you when you come in? They know something's wrong. I had a conversation yesterday with a security guard in a shop, and he just said to me, I'm 100% on your side, but I'm a young man and I have a wife and children to feed, and without this job, I can't feed them. I said, why not? He said, because I haven't got a job. So I said, what happens if they just sacked you tomorrow, just for something silly? I'd have to get another job. And I went, there you go, fella.
Ding!
Exactly. But there was a very interesting thing that's happened in Australia.
Now, one of my coordinators said that they had their car fixed and they went into mechanics, and he was prepared to let this person in and fix a car, but another person went in and wouldn't let them in. Now, I understand this plan of the White Hats, but what it's doing is actually, and I will say this, is actually negatively impacting the people that are already awake, the people that know the truth. They support the White Hats and buy food. Now, you know, there's one thing, it's a bit like in school where the naughty boy does something and the teacher says the whole class stays behind for half an hour, rather than having the guts to tackle that one individual and
Right.
deal with that individual. It makes the whole class suffer. So if I could get any message back to the White Hats is, yeah, this is a really great fun you're having, but there are awake and aware people. The people who support you are actually, in many parts of the world, are suffering because of this big game that's being played out. I mean, there are now my members who are now on the verge of having to act outside of the law to obtain food. Maybe that's what the White Hats want. Maybe they want a great big punch up in the street. I honestly don't know. But, you know, I head an organization with membership in nearly every country, and it is actually affecting my members. So I can't support this White Hat plan when it's actually hurting. You know, imagine you, Steve, or you, Charlie. I mean, you've got your special plastic, you know, card that gets you off, but we don't have that. And I know if someone said to me, you know, you can't come in this shop because you know, you don't have the vac. I would find a way to get that food, which might put me in prison, but I would do that.
Do you know what though? Yeah, look, well, I actually did pass your message on. I said, Simon says, I spoke to the top about this, and they said, look, it's an unconventional war, Charlie. It's unconventional, and we're having to go through this process. Having said that, when it comes to getting food, and this is the silly part, they'll allow you to buy alcohol, but they won't allow you to buy food in Australia.
Well, exactly, yeah.
This is the stupidity of it.
That's what they said to me. If I could go into a booze shop and buy whatever I wanted.
But look, I'm 61 years old. I've traveled all over the world. The one thing I love is places like India and Pakistan. And in England, they've got plenty of corner shops. And in Australia, they have as well. And these people are motivated by money, not by politics, because they've got...
That's what they're having. That's what they're having to do. Well, what they're saying is they're having to do that. But what they're worried about is the police turning up. Because, Charlie, I've got first-hand evidence from people I trust of police officers turning up on the doors, and what my members are saying to them is, "I don't consent," and they're having to force the door in their face.
Correct.
So why are the police acting on something that is horrendously outside of their own rules?
Because of the simple fact, and we've done a lot of research on this with the police. The general police themselves, most of them are very good people, but the people at the top are part of the Masonic Circle, and the people at the top of the Masonic Circle have made it very, very clear. We don't pay the police enough to think. We pay them to take orders, and it's orders coming down from the top. And I know that where they've infiltrated the police forces and the military in every country in the world, they haven't gone in at the top. They've gone about 3 levels down for the people to take control. We're in a war. This is a horrible, and we're left with micromanaging as it goes off, and we're seeing things that are not nice. You know what happened in Rotterdam last night? Not nice. But we start to learn that these are all pieces in the jigsaw puzzle. I go back to my grandfather. I'll never forget. We went to his house. It was called the Rookery in Stowmarket in Suffolk, and we went to his house, and he used to show us his big steel bed. That when the air raid siren went up, they all got underneath this bed, and we're not having to do that. We're petrified. We don't know. We can't do this. We can't do that. We can't do the other. The First World War was probably even more brutal. The Second World War was brutal, and it lasted for 5.5 years. But they didn't have social media and mainstream media, so they could bitch and moan about it. They just got on with it. As I said before you came on, Simon, they've geared us up to have old people's homes, to get old people detached from their families, because the old people have common sense. They could have slapped these households into order and gone, get yourself back out there, fight these people and tell them to piss off. Old people get it. They get it straight away, because they were never in the matrix. If you wanted to watch the telly, you had to get home at 6 o'clock to see the news. That was it. And most of them listened to the radio, to the Archers or whatever it was called, and stuff like that in the old days. I mean, this is their life they were. They weren't on there like they are nowadays on box sets and recordings. I just tried to watch a little bit of football because my daughter's team were playing. And I was like, you know, they're still pumping it out 24/7 on every single channel. Every advert is twisted and skewed that way. So yes, it's not nice. It's horrible. You and I are in the forefront of it, Simon, and we take the brunt of it.
Yeah.
You know, you're a hippopotamus. I know I'm a rhino. Our skin is very, very thick. That's our little joke between ourselves, by the way.
Yeah, it's just to remind people so they don't think we've joined the Freemasons.
Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh yeah, don't let me catch that.
Oh, exactly.
But see, Charlie, they wouldn't do this in America, this door to door, because Americans have the right to carry a gun.
Yes.
And here's the point. So it's a shame that the Europeans are being made this target, if you like.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't do it in America. And I'm just hoping, I've got my faith set on Christmas. I hope after Christmas things might be a lot clearer.
They will be. They will be. You know, we're coming up. There's things that are happening between now and Christmas which are really positive. There's things between Christmas and February which are incredibly valuable. And then I think we'll get full clarity on where we're going by June of next year. I think we'll see an awful lot. But the process we're in right now is we're past the digging of the foundations. The foundations have been dug. Most of the foundations now have been laid. We're now putting in the damp proof coursing and the basic infrastructure in at ground level. That's where we're at. But it's only when you build a house, you don't see anything from the road until you start laying bricks. And we're starting to lay bricks at the damp course level right now. You'll start to see things more clearly. You know, for those people that are awake, what happened yesterday with the Biden residency, you know, suddenly he steps down for 18 hours while he goes into hospital to have a colonoscopy. Then I was told that he was going to come out and they would, it was supposed to flow that he would diagnosed with cancer and he'd stand down and Kamala Harris would step up. But then, of course, Kamala Harris is falling apart.
She's not up to it now.
She's not.
No.
So,
and the White House is doing what
they're letting them
done to them, just totally bombing her.
That's
trying
right.
to get her gone.
Didn't they actually say? Didn't her team actually accuse Biden of being racist?
Yes.
Yeah. And her media secretary steps down because of all the infighting. Well, they're not, so obviously Biden's team is trying to make Kamala look bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever they are, it isn't because they love each other too much and they can't consecrate their love. They're going, I don't like you. I don't like what you say and how you do it. I need to get you gone. So they're using the media and any source they can to drive her out and discredit her. So he won't be transitioned out because they don't want to have Kamala come in. What a disaster.
Well, I've got about 20 minutes before the Insiders Club. So I've got about 15 minutes on with you. And I'm going to start off by talking about the mask patch.
The mask patch. I want to talk about the Purify patch.
Oh, God.
You can do it. I've tried the mask patch and I tried it and I only lasted 12 hours. I had to take it off because I landed up stuck in the bathroom.
This
so
patch
I obviously
you're talking about.
That's the one.
That
I've
should
obviously
not
got
have had
far
that kind
more
of impact.
I must have far more toxins inside me.
Well, you know, it's
Either that or I'm full of shit. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah. Oh, duh. I know the answer to that one. This is the one that could have caused that in your body. The green one.
Yeah.
That's the Purify detoxer. The
Okay.
mask patch, you should have felt more robust, kind of more energetic. So
Oh, I felt very energetic, I can assure you.
no wonder he's so intellectual this week because he spent so much time on his throne thinking and absorbing the world. So
That's the only throne I've got. I can assure you of that.
there you go. Simon, if you had a chance to try the mask patch, we sent it
No,
out.
not after what Charlie said. No, because
Oh, come on, man. I got hundreds of thousands of these out there and nobody has
I know. It's just that Charlie is a very different sort of creature. So
Yeah.
whatever you put on Charlie, it's gonna
Probably not of our.
It's
biology.
not the right guinea pig to be trying it on. No,
Yeah.
no. No, I think you've sent them to me, and I've got them ready to use. It's just that my knee has been like pretty bad, so I've been concentrating on the pain relief patches on that because my knee's got quite bad now. I can't sort of walk up and down the stairs very easily at the moment. So
hey, both of you guys, and we get along. I've on Simon's podcast and with you, Charlie. Bodyline, things are going exceptionally well for us.
Mm-hmm.
The feedback we're getting on a product, still less than 1% of our product that we ship comes back to us because it didn't work.
It's good. It is good.
Yeah.
Which to
Well,
me,
Steve, if it wasn't for those pain patches, well, I wouldn't go to the doctors. I just wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if it wasn't for the pain patches, I would be in a bit of a state. So they've literally, really saved me. If I want to go to town and do a bit of shopping, I can because if you got your patches. But my leg's been like this for a year now. Mm-hmm. So no. So I will try it, but I just want to try and get this pain on my leg sorted out first.
Well, fantastic.
I've used them.
Thank you for it.
Justin's used them, and my wife and Acella's used them as well. So we've had the pain patches have worked on all three of us at different points. So yeah, can certainly vouch for those.
Amen, my friends. Well, thank you very much for a great day today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, just one
Charlie,
other
good
thing as
luck on the
well.
Insiders Club, folks. If you watch this to learn about Bodyline, that's great. But I encourage you, Simon's daily broadcast that he sends out is information, and Charlie's Insider Club is a great investment in getting insight and insider information on what's going on in the world, because you need both of that.
Yeah. Also, your 5G patches, which I've got all around my computers here,
I've got
a big asset as well.
Yes, that's definitely. I mean, I've put them on the phone. I've put them on the router.
Well, consider yourself protected from any EMS, whether they come from your printer, your any wireless device, and that light behind you is providing 60 hertz of stimulation to your body. When that disc is close to your body through your phone or the strip on your computer monitor or wherever you are, your body's getting the signaling needs to protect itself from those damages.
Sure.
So that's been our flagship product for 10 years now.
Yeah, it works. Brilliant. Right, Charlie, shall we let you go and look after your insiders?
Yep, perfect. Well, great to see you guys again.
Oh, thank you. Thanks
Have
both
a
of
blessed
you.
day.
I won't see you next week because I've got my daughter here. So
Well, happy Thanksgiving. I know in the States we celebrate the autumn harvest.
Yes.
And it will be a filling experience for me.
Definitely. Cheers, gentlemen.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.